In the history of piracy, names like Blackbeard and Captain Kidd echo through time. But there's one name that overshadows them all. A name that commanded the largest pirate fleet ever assembled.
She wasn't just a pirate.
She was an admiral, a legislator, and a business mogul who ruled the South China Sea. This is the incredible story of Zheng Yi Sao, the Pirate Queen.
Our story begins in the late 18th century, in the bustling province of Guangdong, China. A young woman named Xianggu was working in a floating brothel.
We don't know much about her early life, but we know she was intelligent, cunning, and fiercely ambitious. Her life was about to take a dramatic turn. In 1801, she was captured by, or perhaps strategically aligned herself with, a notorious pirate named Zheng Yi. Zheng Yi was the leader of the Red Flag Fleet, a formidable pirate confederation. He saw something special in Xianggu, not just her beauty, but her sharp mind and strategic prowess. He married her, and from that moment on, she was no longer just a captain's wife. She became a partner. Together, they forged an alliance of pirate fleets, unifying them under their banner and growing the Red Flag Fleet into a massive naval force. She wasn't content to stay in the shadows. Zheng Yi Sao, as she was now known, which literally means wife of Zheng Yi, actively participated in the piracy business. She learned the ropes of naval warfare, of plunder, and of command.
She was instrumental in consolidating their power, creating a pirate empire that terrorized the coastlines of southern China and Vietnam.
For 6 years, they ruled the waves together.
But in 1807, tragedy struck.
Zheng Yi was killed in a typhoon, leaving the massive Red Flag Fleet without a leader. This was a critical moment. In a world dominated by men, the Confederation could have easily splintered.
But Zheng Yi Sao was not about to let her husband's legacy and her own ambition sink to the bottom of the sea. She knew she had to act fast. Instead of fading into obscurity, Zheng Yi Sao made a series of brilliant political moves. She had cultivated a strong relationship with her husband's adopted son and second in command, a formidable warrior named Zheng Yi.
Some accounts say they were already lovers before Zheng Yi's death. Whatever the truth, she quickly secured his loyalty and solidified their partnership.
With Zheng Yi as her enforcer and commander on the front lines, Zheng Yi Sao took control of the entire confederation.
She was now the undisputed admiral of a fleet that numbered over 1,800 ships and had an estimated 80,000 pirates under her command.
To put that into perspective, that's more ships and sailors than many national navies had at the time. Blackbeard, by comparison, had maybe for ships and a few hundred men. But what truly sets Zheng Yi Sao apart wasn't just the size of her fleet.
It was how she ran it. She was a brilliant administrator. She understood that brute force alone couldn't maintain such a vast organization. So, she established a strict, and I mean strict, code of laws.
This wasn't just a pirate's code of no prey, no pay.
This was a comprehensive legal system.
All plunder had to be registered and brought to a common storehouse.
The pirate who seized the goods got to keep 20%, while the remaining 80% went into the collective fund.
Disobeying an order was punishable by beheading on the spot.
Deserting or going AWOL meant having your ears cut off, and her rules regarding female captives were revolutionary for the time.
Any pirate who assaulted a female captive was executed. If a pirate wished to take a captive as his wife, he had to be faithful to her. Unfaithfulness was also a capital offense.
This code wasn't just about discipline, it was about creating a stable, functioning society at sea. She turned a chaotic band of outlaws into a highly organized and efficient military and commercial enterprise.
Under her command, the Red Flag Fleet became an untouchable power. They didn't just raid ships, they controlled entire coastal regions. They set up a system of governance, levying taxes on coastal villages and merchant ships in exchange for protection, a classic protection racket, but on a massive scale. If you paid their tax, your vessel could fly a red flag and sail unmolested. If you didn't, well, you'd be facing the full wrath of the largest pirate navy in history.
They defeated fleet after fleet sent by the Qing dynasty government. They captured naval commanders, sank warships, and even blockaded major ports like Guangzhou. The Chinese government, along with the Portuguese and the British, tried everything to stop her.
But her strategic genius and the sheer power of her fleet were too much to handle.
She was more than a pirate. She was a de facto ruler of the South China Sea.
For 3 years, Zheng Yi Sao reigned supreme. Her empire was seemingly invincible, but she was also a pragmatist. She knew this life couldn't last forever.
The constant warfare was taking its toll, and the Qing government, desperate and humiliated, was preparing a massive new offensive. She saw the writing on the wall. Instead of waiting to be defeated and executed, she decided to write her own ending. In 1810, she did the unthinkable. She sailed her entire fleet, flags flying, not into battle, but to the negotiating table. Unarmed and accompanied only by a delegation of women and children, she walked into the office of the Governor-General of Guangdong and demanded amnesty. At first, the governor refused to negotiate with a woman, let alone a pirate. But Zheng Yi Sao was not one to be dismissed. Through sheer force of will and brilliant negotiation, she played her hand perfectly. She wasn't begging for a pardon. She was negotiating a surrender on her own terms. And what terms they were. She secured a universal pardon for herself and every single one of her pirates. They were allowed to keep their ill-gotten gains. Not only that, but Cheung Po Zai, her partner in crime and in life, was given a command in the Chinese Navy and a government post. He was essentially put in charge of hunting down the pirates who didn't surrender. And what about Zheng Yi Sao herself? She retired from piracy as one of the most successful pirates who ever lived. She married Cheung Po Zai, settled in Guangzhou, and used her vast fortune to open and run a successful gambling house until her death at the age of 69. She didn't die in a blaze of glory or on the gallows. She died a wealthy, free woman. In her own bed, she outsmarted, outfought, and outmaneuvered every man who stood in her way, from rival pirates to government officials. She started with nothing and built an empire, and when the time was right, she cashed out and walked away a winner. Her story is a powerful testament to her incredible intelligence, leadership, and survival instinct. She wasn't just the pirate queen, she was a master strategist who beat the system at its own game. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this story, make sure to like and subscribe for more hidden histories.